Viewers, welcome back to the Personal Injury Law Show. It's that time of the show when we've got the mailbag. Welcome back, Anna. How are you?
Thank you, Tony. Very well, thank you.
What did you think of the show?
Fantastic. Very informative.
It's a very tricky area of law, isn't it?
It is.
John, it's just a minefield, isn't it?
Medical negligence and particularly proving causation, Tony. It's just so difficult.
Foreseeability, causation, breach, it's all difficult. And viewers, we are going to come back with another episode very shortly. There's a lot of cases and somehow they seem inconsistent with each other. But that's why we should come back and revisit and look at these
Tony,
cases.
just one thing, and when we're explaining to clients the difficulties of obtaining supporting doctors who, in a sense, will be criticising other doctors, it's so hard, isn't it, Tony?
And also the problem is these days, if there's an accepted practice and you haven't strayed from it, the Boland principle, it's very hard to get over the line against doctors or hospitals.
Very difficult.
I think for plaintiffs it would be a very emotionally trying time as well.
Of course. And sadly, most plaintiffs think that all you need is an injury and you're entitled to compensation. It's a lot more complicated than that. So you've got to get legal advice. But just on that topic there, we've got a lot of questions, Anna. So what's the first one?
Okay, the first one comes from Chrissy in Frankston. Dear PI Show, in 2005 I was injured at work. I eventually returned to work, however the injury has persisted. I am now 46 years old and I've had to manage this injury for over 5 years. I still experience pain and as a result I have been spending considerable amounts of my own money on doctor's appointments, physiotherapy and other pain relief methods. I have also had to take numerous sick days due to my pain. I'm finding the pain is also now affecting my personal life. I'm looking at what options I have available to me. Is the insurance company still liable to cover my ongoing medical treatment? What can be done? Are you able to help? That sounds like that long-term suffering would be very difficult for someone like Chrissy.
Specialist in this area. You can answer that, John.
Well, Tony, Chrissy, you need to make a claim for work cover entitlements. I'm not sure if you have or not, but let's say you haven't. You need to lodge a claim for medical expenses and weekly payments of compensation. Even though you're working, you may have lost time or you are losing time. You shouldn't be losing your sick days out of that. That should be part of your weekly payment compensation, Tony.
And John, the legislation's very dangerous these days because if you don't have the contemporaneous complaints and you haven't lodged a claim whilst you're employed, it could hurt you in some instances.
Any delay could be fatal. I don't think necessarily fatal, but it just makes it harder for you. So lodge a claim as soon as possible.
John, I've had a lot of cases where people have left the employment and they haven't lodged claims, but they're still accepted in the future because they went to the doctors and explained exactly how they got injured.
Exactly.
And they've got witnesses, they've got contemporaneous medical notes, but 5 years is a reasonable delay.
It's a
and plus
long
you've got the
delay.
statute of limitations that kicks in at 6 years for common law.
Well, that's the issue, Tony. You need to lodge a serious injury application within 6 years to protect your common law rights.
And that hasn't been raised a lot at the moment, but I did have a case recently where a public liability insurer, a third party, after we got a serious injury certificate, did raise a statute of limitations defence, and it can be problematic. So you've got to get advice sooner rather than later.
Chrissy, you need to see an expert lawyer, ideally an accredited specialist in personal injury law that practices in work cover, to lodge an application for serious injury. It sounds like you're having serious consequences as a result of this injury. Therefore, you may meet the test of serious injury and also obtain your medical expenses and weekly payments.
That's it.
So it sounds like Chrissy, you really need to get onto this straight away then.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Thanks, Anna.
On to our next question. This one's from Herman in Murrumbina. Dear PI Show, I recently had a major accident at work on a construction building site. I fell into a pit approximately 3 metres deep. I have sustained a back injury and have fractured my left wrist. I have never been in this situation before and I need some direction. What can I do?
Well, going back to what John just told the previous viewer, lodge a claim under the Accident Compensation Act, get all your medical treatment paid, get your loss of income paid, get yourself checked out thoroughly with scanning, and if down the track the injury becomes serious, and I'd hazard to guess following that sort of depth and injury in your back, you've probably sustained something permanent.
3 metres is quite a long way to fall.
It's a long way to fall. I'd hazard to guess that you've got to claim into the future for permanent damage, and there's the no fault benefits, Section 98C, and also common law if you've got a serious long-term impairment.
Exactly. So, look, Herman, again, you need to lodge a claim with WorkCover and your employer for weekly payments, medical expenses, and your rights flow from that.
And John, the thing that concerns me now is that there's so many different tests. I mean, the 40% for loss of income, you know, how you, looking for alternative
Very tough.
employment that suits your injuries, if it's available. Sorry, if you should be doing alternative employment, it's very important. So
Very tough.
if you think you can do it yourself, you're kidding. You must get advice. Critical.
As a part of that, the employer is obliged to provide a return to work plan for you.
That's it.
Vocational assistance, all these issues, you need to seek legal advice. Again, see a lawyer.
John, I think we've scared Herman to the extent that he's going to go out there and get some advice.
That's
Thank you,
probably a
Herman.
good idea. Now on to the next question. Dear PI Show, I'm a former Victorian police officer. A few years ago, I suffered a lower back injury due to the equipment belt I was forced to wear over the years. I made a claim at the time of the injury. Between then and now, I've received various medical treatments, unfortunately all to no avail. I have managed my injury as best I could. However, in recent months, it has become progressively worse. Due to the chronic pain of my injury, I suffer insomnia, constant lower back pain, muscular pain across my middle and upper back, and referred pain into my left leg. I find it difficult to concentrate on tasks, and as a result, also suffer from bouts of anxiety and depression. The injury impacts on my day-to-day living, and I have grave concerns for my future health. Tony, what would you recommend in this situation?
You've got a work cover claim. We've been through it with the last two viewers. You've got to lodge a claim. You're entitled to your medical treatment, loss of income, and plus perhaps common law down the track. But get advice, and I'm sorry to rush you on this one because we're running out of time, but he's no doubt got a claim, John.
Oh, and again, there's serious consequences there.
Yeah.
There may be a serious injury application in the prospects here. However, negligence I can foresee.
It could be
The
problematic.
issue of fault may be problematic.
But
Make-
that's why you need advice.
Make sure you keep the belt.
And I tell the viewers what they need to do to keep in touch with the show and to write in the questions.
Viewers, you can contact us on Facebook or Twitter or on our website www.thepishow.com. Thank
And
you for your
viewers-
questions this week.
Thank you, John. Thanks, Anna. And viewers, keep watching the show and we'll keep producing it. So please look after yourselves and stay safe and stay tuned to the show. Thank you.
Thank you.